after we had their Surro baby, they gave me a few gifts, and it was just so delightful. And they're like, here's from the baby, you know? So it was a very, very good experience. I am Justine Delorier, and I live in Sheldon, Vermont. When I started the surrogacy, we were a family of 4. My husband, who's military, my 2 daughters. At the time, they were 3 and 5, I believe. And part of the reason why I wanted to do the surrogacy was the fact that we had lost a son in 2012 to SIDS. Knowing that not everybody can have children, I wanted to be able to give somebody that experience of being a mother or a father. So that was my big reason why I wanted to become a surrogate. So my first journey was for a couple who had 3 kids of their own. They wanted to complete their family, but knew that it was medically not able for her to have any more kids. So they decided to do a surrogacy. We hit it off within the first 2 to 5 minutes. Phone call was supposed to last 5 minutes. We were on the phone for an hour and a half. And then the process itself was so easy. We got to bring all the families together, so their family, our family, and we've kind of grown into like a really tight-knit, close friends. So because she had been through pregnancy before, I felt there was like more of an in-depth rapport between the 2 of us. So we were able to communicate really well. She knew like the symptoms I was having. She knew, food cravings and this and that. So she was always right there like, hey, how you doing today? My 2 daughters, like I said, they were 3 and 5. They enjoyed the whole process. I had to explain it to them that we're not keeping this one, but I'm just growing the baby, and they just loved every part of it. When the baby was given to mom, it was one of the most memorable experiences I have ever had in my entire life, besides having my own kids. You're able to see the love pouring out of the mother and father at the time that you have that baby. If you have your own kids and you can feel it in your own heart, but to be able to see it, it really puts it into perspective what you have done for somebody else. If somebody asked me about surrogacy, I would say go see Jess at VSN, the Vermont Surrogacy Network. I cannot rave about them enough. They do all the matching, they do all the work. It's just, I felt like I didn't have to do anything. They just told me where to go, where to be, and it was just really easy. I mean, you sign a few papers, you do your waivers, you do your checks, you do your stuff, and it was a breeze. Those who do surrogacy independently and finding their own lawyers and their own intended parents that way, I feel like is way harder, because you're doing all the research yourself. You're doing all the research for the lawyer. You're doing all the research for your insurance, because you have to have medical. You're doing all the research for finding parents and things like that. So when you're going through a network, it really takes that all out. And then you can just focus on the communication with your intended parents. You can just focus on that communication and building a relationship, because that's what you want. You want to build the relationship with those parents, because you're carrying their child for 9 months. You want to make sure it's a good fit. So definitely building that communication beforehand is what you want. And it's a lifelong relationship too. So, I mean, there are some that choose to have the closed, and there's some that choose to have the open relationships. The intended parents and we decided to do an open, so we communicate all the time. We've got pictures back and forth. So it's just a great experience.